Yo, what's up guys, I'm back on a video here. This time we have another tier list. Now I've been seeing they've been doing really well on my channel lately, so I just thought I'll do a few more for you guys, some relevant ones of this year. So this one we have a tier list on all the Playstyle Plus in the game, just so you know which ones to use, which ones are better, value for coins, etc. So first we need to go to Travella Plus. Now unfortunately Travella Plus is a little bit nerfed after the update. But with that being said, in and around the box, it's still not bad and it is still viable. It just isn't as good as what it used to be. So for that, I ended up putting it as an A tier instead of normally the S tier would have been. Now Trickster for me is a little bit of a weird one because in certain situations it can be quite effective. There's a few skill moves with Trickster Plus that go really nicely in game. But on a general consensus, I don't think it's usable, especially in big games. You don't really need to be skilling with Trickster skills. It's just simple stuff like that, fake shot, ball roll, and stuff like that. Like, it's not really that effective. So for that, I am going to put him as a D tier. You need it in more situations than one or two of a game to be higher up in this ranking. I just don't think it's any better than that. So next up is Relentless Plus. Now this, in my opinion, is one of the most effective ones in the game. Obviously, it's going to be more effective for midfielders and attacking fullbacks as well, depending on what formation you play. But when you have them in the 90th minute, have double the stamina, if not even more than that, than the other players on the pitch. It's so effective because you don't have to bring them off. You can keep pressing until 90, 120 minutes, and it's really good. So for that, I am going to put it as an S tier, and a very good one at that. Next up on the list is Finesse Plus. Now, if you asked me this at the start of the year, it was the easiest S tier out of them all. This was the God Playstyle Plus. Now they've nerfed it, it's not as good. It still became quite effective at the edge of the box and also in and around the box. But the longer shots necessarily don't go in as much now like they used to because they were just stupidly OP. So for that, I am going to put it as a B tier. It's still not bad, like I say, but it's just nowhere near to what the level of it was. So next up is Bruiser Plus. Now Bruiser is quite effective on the taller cards like the Van Dijks, the Campbells. You'll usually see it on centre backs or centre mids just so they can beat off their man like the midfielders or the attackers. They're a little bit faster than them, let's say. They can utilise their strength and push them away. Now, how effective I think it is, sometimes it works really well and sometimes it doesn't work at all and you can give away a pen as well. So for that, I'm going to put it as a C tier. I don't really think it's that effective in game. There's definitely better out there for defending ones, but in certain situations you could utilise it well. Next up is the most hated one in the whole of FIFA. Now, as you see by the description, it significantly improves stand tackle as well. Now, it doesn't just do that. It literally makes it so hard for that attacker to get round the man. And it makes it very difficult to even beat your centre-back 1v1. So if they have a little bit of pace, like this Carlos Alberto does and like Renard, it's so impossible because they can twist and turn to the same speed as you and then just press square or circle, whatever your stand tackle is, and then they get the ball so easily. It's a little bit broken in my opinion. But with that being said, it's S tier, obviously. It's such a really good AI defending thing, but that's not really that good for FIFA because you can just use these cards and it's very effective. Now, next on the list is Slide Plus. Now, Slide Plus is a very ineffective one in my opinion. I've never liked it purely because, as a quote by Maldini said himself, if you're sliding, you made a mistake. And it applies to FIFA as well. You shouldn't really be needing to slide at all. Obviously, if the opportunity's there, the man's going to get clamped. It's very easy to slide. Now, the odd chance that you do get it wrong, you are going to get a red card significantly a lot. So you do need to be careful of that with Slide Plus. Although it is quite good in certain situations, I don't really think it's too effective. So for that, I'm but it's D tier, unfortunately. I just feel like the amount of times you were utilising the game, it's just not as good as what it would be for like an Anticipate or Intercept. So next on the list is Block Plus. Now Block Plus is normally more effective on the taller cards of the game and mainly the centre backs or CDMs. Purely because with their long gangly limbs, they will be able to block shots a lot easier. And since Block Plus is very AI based, it's all up to the game. And obviously with taller cards, you're more likely to block shots. Now, if you can block maybe one per game, that's going to be a definite goal. It's definitely worth it to have. I don't think it's as good as Anticipate or Intercept. I feel there's a lot more opportunity for them in games. But like I said, if it can save one opportunity from you conceding an indefinite goal, definitely is worth it. So for that, I'm going to put it as a B tier. I don't think it's amazing. I just don't think it's like necessarily bad. The next on the list is one of my personal favourites, is Whip Pass Plus. Now, this is mainly more effective on the fullbacks that can overlap your wingers. Let's say there are using Technical Plus, play it off them and then whip the ball back post. Now, if you watch Protons, you'll see they use that Haaland 94 Dynasty, purely because if you do whip it to it back post on his head, he's obviously going to whip it with Aerial Plus, so that combo is really, really nice to have, and for that, I'm going to put it as A tier. I don't think it's as effective as some of the things in S tier, but with that being said, it's a very, very fun one to have, and a very, very OP one at that. Next up on my list is going to be First Touch Plus. Now, at the start of the year, I did think it was a little bit pointless to have this one. I didn't really think it was that effective. I think it was a bit of a weighted Playstyle Plus. Now, I got that Patelas around about, I'll say December time on my second account. Used it for like 400 games, and honestly, I can see why. So, if you're around the edge of the box, you can definitely ping it into them, trap it into their feet, and then utilize that to get the skill off like the best and that Patelas can, or maybe get the touch and the finish off like Puskas and that Harry Kane can. So, it's actually a very, very effective one to have. It definitely traps it better than what it normally would. So, for me, I'm going to put it as a B tier. The next up for me is going to be Press Proven Plus. Now, on a whole, Press Proven is mainly a bit better for the taller players, just so they're not struggling as much when they get pressed out of the midfield, like the Rodris, the Hullets, the Yayas. Now, Sauer does have it as well, which can make it very, very OP, because obviously on a small card, to stop them getting pressed is very, very effective. Now, do I think it's going to be one of the better ones in the game? No. I feel like it's definitely better out there, especially for midfielders. You kind of want passing traits in midfield, but with that being said, it's still not bad. It can still get you out of a few situations, so for that, I'm going to put it as C tier. Now, next up is another personal one of my favourites this year. It's Quick Step Plus. Now, this is obviously effective on smaller cards necessarily, like the Smiths and that, but it can also be more effective on like the R9s, the Mbappes as well. So, it's just a very universal one to have. I would say mainly it's best for attacking wise. I wouldn't really recommend it on any midfielders. I feel like that would get you in trouble a bit more. But with that being said, if you utilize them step overs with Quick Step Plus, it's a very, very effective combo. So for that, I'm going to put it as S tier easily, especially if you utilize it with 5-star skills as well to get into that step over, to then use the Quick Step Plus and then skills afterwards. Very, very effective combo. Next up is one I've already talked about. It's the Aerial Plus. Now, obviously, when you combine this with the Whip Pass Plus, is a very effective combo. Now, if you want that CLM play, I think it's mainly on my Dynasty Haaland. I was utilising it when you had the Whip Pass from Davies to the back post of Haaland, and then you either nod it down or shoot yourself. Now, obviously, Haaland and Courtois being 6'5" and 6'6", it's going to be very, very effective on cards like that when you put on back post. Now, when you have someone of the same height with Aerial Plus and then without it, the Aerial Plus is going to be very, very dominant in the air. This is why the Drogba and Morientes are still very, very good with it. Now for that, I'm going to put it as A tier. It's a very, very effective one if you can utilise it right, but obviously it's not quite S tier because you can't really use it in all situations. The next on the list is Flare Plus. Now, although this looks really, really nice in game when it pulls off, it's very, very ineffective. And honestly, the flare shots are pointless and the flare passes aren't even that effective. So overall, it is the easiest D tier one on the list. I think it's very, very ineffective. The shots especially, when they're doing flare shots, it has a less chance of going in than a normal Trivela and stuff like that. So this is just very, very ineffective unless you want to be flary, shall we say. Next on the list is Intercept Plus. Now, for me, this is actually really good at anywhere in the defence. So the centre-backs, your left-back, right-back, your centre-mids, really, really effective no matter where it is. Because obviously when people go bouncing around your passing plays, especially in the midfield and the wide areas, it's very, very hard to get the ball off them even when pressing. So sometimes that Intercept Plus does come in clutch to to cross out that passing lane and stop them from doing some more tiki-taka passing and stuff like that. Now, for me, I'm going to put it as a tier. It's not as good as Anticipate and won't be as used, but it's a very, very effective one, especially if you have it in the midfield to stop them from playing it around you, especially. Now, next on the list is Technical Plus. Now, Technical Plus is very, very effective for the smaller cards of the game, like the Bon Matties, the Smiths, the women especially, and especially people like Messi and Beth. All of these are really, really good with it. So when you utilise the R1 on the ball, it's so effective to smoothly glide past people, and especially since people are very, very aggressive this year, it's quite easy to get past them with this Technical Plus. So for that, I'm going to put it as S. It's very, very effective in pretty much all situations, whether you're on the box, in the box, around the halfway line. It doesn't really matter. It's very good to get you up the field. So for that, it's an easy S tier, in my opinion. So next up for me is going to be Acrobatic Plus. Now, this can be utilised in certain situations, and especially with the cards like Haaland and Van Basten. It's a little bit better on the taller cards because obviously they can get their legs a little bit further out and a little bit swinging across more. Now, on a general game, you're not going to utilise this much But if you can like chip it over some and use L2 because that's how you trigger it, it is actually quite effective in certain situations, especially from corners or that. So you can utilize it. So for that, I'm going to put it C. It's nowhere near D tier because it can be utilized in some situations. I just think it's very, very dependable on what situation that is. Next on the list is going to be Power Shot Plus. Now, if you watch the pros, they utilize this very, very nicely. Now, in certain situations, this is very, very good. Now, I prefer it personally to have a little bit of fun with like the midfielders like Mateus and Bellingham with high shot power, Power Shot Plus. You can absolutely scream them into the back of the net. Now, in more effective terms, in the sweaty games, you can also utilize it in the box, especially with people like Mia Hamm, because it's short and snappy. You can get the shots off very, very easy with the short legs. So, in certain situations, this can be really good, and others, you don't really need it as much. So, for that, I'm going to put it as a B tier. It's sometimes effective, sometimes not, so I don't really think I can give it A or a S, because you do need to normal shot it more times than you do power shot. Now, next one, in my opinion, is probably the second least effective one in the whole of the game. Now, possibly you can utilize this with maybe an aerial plus card in the box and nod it down to someone, maybe in certain situations, but overall, I just don't think it's that effective. You're not going to have that many throw-ins where it's going to be effective, especially since it's on the right side, so the fullback will be on it, because all these are right backs. No one is it on the left back, so you do need to be careful of that. If you're on the left side, you're not going to be utilising that playstyle plus. So for that, it's going to be the easiest D tier. Long throw just not amazing. You're normally going to throw it short anyway to do simple passing and get it in the box like a normal human. But if you want to have fun, it's maybe there for you. I don't know. The next up is a very, very cool one in my opinion. It's very, very effective for getting you out of sticky situations. Let's say you're getting pressed really, really hard, 88th minute, you're 1 goal up. This long ball pass is really good. Switch it across the field and get the ball away from their man, just so you're getting a little bit more time and space so you can do more other things. Now, for me, it's most effective on the fullbacks like Lahm and Trent maybe, just so you can get it across the pitch. And I utilise it with Fonzie, so I play it from Lahm to Fonzie with a long ball pass down the line and a back post to Holland. It's a very, very effective system. Now, the midfield is not as effective in my opinion, but like I said, it can get you out of some sticky situations, so that is good. So for that, I'm going to definitely put it as A tier. Now, next up is one that could be quite effective in certain situations, but again, it's like throw-ins. You're not going to have too many in the game. Obviously, you're going to have more chances to use the dead ball plus than you are long throw. But with that being said, it is still, sometimes it can be really effective, especially on corners. So, I don't think it's necessarily bad. I just don't think it's actually as usable as some of the other ones on this, like the Anticipate or Quick Step. So for that, I'm going to put as C. It can be really, really good if you're very good on the dead balls like free kicks and corners. But I just think overall in the game scenario, it's not that effective. Next up is going to be Chip Plus for me. Now, Chip Plus had a recent update where they're a little bit better in terms of the accuracy and that, but still, I don't think it's effective at all. It's still very, very loopy and doesn't really go where you want it to. Obviously, in very certain situations, you might be able to chip the keeper and it be effective, but it's even more effective to probably just ball roll it or take it around the keeper. So I really don't see chip shot being that useful in game. So for that, it's probably the easiest detail out of the lot. I just feel like it needs to be a lot more direct and powerful to be effective on this, because the keepers can just catch it easily or the defender run around them and get the ball. The next one is going to be Jockey Plus for me. Now, Jockey is actually quite effective on the fullbacks, especially because you know how people use the R1 dribbling down that byline and cut it back like every other player does in this year. So you need to be able to jockey and then get into that sprint. This is what Jockey does. So you can use that L2 jockey with it and then get into that sprint to stop him from getting down that byline very, very effectively on you. And it's actually a really, really nice one to have. So for that, I'm going to put it as a B. It's not as effective as like an Anticipate and can be utilised in certain situations. I just don't think, not every player is going to go down the byline, so you do need to be careful that it's not going to be that effective overall. Now, next one on the list is Rapid Plus. Now, Rapid Plus for me is more effective on the cars like Mbappe and Henry that are above 6 foot tall, because when they hit their top speed, it's scarily fast and it's so hard to deal with in game. Now, although Mia Hamm and Sam Kerr are still really good with it because their top speeds are still exceptionally fast, the taller cars just seem really, really good with this. And I played against that Thunderstruck Henry and he was such a pain to deal with in game. And obviously, my red Mbappe is really annoying for my opponents. So for that, it's a very, very easy S tier. Now, I wouldn't recommend you having it on midfielders like Valverde, because I can definitely get you in some sticky situations where you want to be passing it across or something like that. But on strikers, I definitely think it's utilised and very, very effective. Next to me is going to be Ticktack Plus. Now, this actually can be quite effective. Now, I saw this especially in clubs when you're passing it between your mates. It's actually really, really nice to have, just so you can bounce the ball with minimal error, and especially the Spanish lot are really good for that. That Patelas and that Pedri are exceptionally good. Now, do I think it's utilised in a game situation? Yes, definitely. Because obviously people are so aggressive this year. When you're passing it between your players, you do need really good accuracy. And this is what Ticktack does. So for that, I'm going to put it as A. I don't think it's quite an S tier because it's not as utilised as some of the S tier ones. But with that being said, that Ticktack still could be very, very nice in game. Now, next up on my list is going to be Incisive Pass Plus. Now, this can be really, really good at sometimes and then also quite ineffective at times. So, overall, when you're using these triangle balls, they're actually really, really nice to slot your attackers through on goal, or maybe slot your wide through on goal, just so you're getting them in behind with minimal error. Now, overall, they are really effective. Now, there's sometimes where you don't really particularly need them. You can just use the normal triangles and they do it effectively the same. But overall, I do think they're really, really effective, especially when they can have a little bit of swerve on it as well to stop defenders from getting it. So for that, it's a very, very easy A tier in my opinion. Now, next for me is going to be Power Header Plus. Now, Power Header is obviously going to be more effective on the taller cards because when you have Power Header on a card like Sam Kerr, she's not really going to win too many headers in the air, so the Power Header then comes a little bit useless in my opinion. But on cards like Lukaku and Hullet and also Lewandowski, which are a little bit taller of cards, it can be really effective. And when you utilise a Power Header, it's really, really strong and powerful headers. They go in like a rocket when you actually get it right, and honestly, it's unstoppable for the keeper even if they do get a hand to it. So for that, I am going to put it C purely because some situations aren't really that effective with it. But if you can get it in the air on the head, it can be really, really nice. Now, last but very not least is going to be Ping Pass. Now, this personally is one of my favourites of the year. I really do like Ping Pass. It's a little bit like Ticktack, but it just has that little bit more fizz to it to stop these really aggressive people pressing you down and get the ball away fast. Now, Bombay and Modric are two of the best ones for this example. You can utilise that R1 dribble, especially with Bombay, get the ball away from someone and then ping pass it into your attacker and then start the attack very easily like that. Now, also cards like Luka Bacchio with the centre backs, you can definitely pass it to your full backs to that to get the ball away. It's just a very effective one to stop you getting pressed. So for that, I'm going to put it as S. A lot of people like to press and squeeze you this year, and that's how a lot of people play the game. So this Ping Pass Plus is definitely very effective. But that's all my video. As always, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do subscribe. It really does help my channel a lot. Now, I know this is the first one of the tier list of the different kind of ones, not really just player based. So if you did enjoy it, please do leave a comment down below. Obviously, I'll try and get around to responding if I can. But with that being said, I'll see you in the next video and peace out, guys.